866-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark. In for Baloo tonight, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. We are glad you are with us as officially, even though really here in Jacksonville it's been going on for about 5 weeks, officially we are now into the NFL offseason after the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely destroy the Kansas City Chiefs last night. Very, very surprising. I picked Kansas City to win. Look, I said Philadelphia probably was the better team. I would take more Eagles than Chiefs if we did a schoolyard pick'em for your first 10 or 15 selections. But I thought Mahomes and Andy Reid, that combination would propel Kansas City just like it did a majority of the year. What I didn't bank on was the fact that the Philadelphia front four was going to physically whip the Kansas City offensive line. That's what happened last night. The Philadelphia front four physically whipped the Kansas City Chiefs at the line of scrimmage. In fact, Patrick Mahomes dropped back to throw the ball 42 times. One of the most amazing stats you'll ever see is Philadelphia and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio did not blitz one time. It was 4 guys the entire time, and the Kansas City 5-0 linemen could not block them. Josh Sweat, the former Florida State Seminole, made himself a lot of money last night. The former Georgia Bulldogs, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis were doing their thing. And Philadelphia finishing the year 16-1. Remember, that was a 2-2 football team. 2-2 after 4 weeks. They go 16-1 after that and are now hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Jalen Hurts, your Super Bowl MVP. I saw the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely took over the Magic Kingdom today. The fan base did for the parade celebration for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. And Philadelphia, now your world champions. Their home schedule next year, if you want to look ahead to the Thursday night opener in 2025, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Detroit goes to Philadelphia next year. I mean, that's got to be the season opener, does it not? The only other option I thought was maybe the Rams go to Philadelphia. I don't think they would do Washington because that's a division game. But how great would that be to have Detroit and Philly in Philadelphia to kick off the 2025 campaign? So we'll review the Super Bowl. Certainly we'll talk about that. But I mentioned it's the first day of the NFL offseason because now everybody's back to 0-0. Everybody's back to square one. And with that, we start looking ahead to the Jaguar offseason. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. This time of year is the time of year for our guys at Spotrac. Spotrac is one of the websites to go to. Salary caps, contracts, impending free agency, how much money you would save by cutting this player, how much money you would save by cutting that player. And one of the founders of Spotrac is Mike Giannetti. He's going to join me at the top of the 7 o'clock hour as we're going to kind of lay out a blueprint for the Jaguar offseason. What does their cap situation look like? How good is free agency, positions of strength and weakness league-wide? Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. How much money would the Jaguars save by releasing these guys? What about the Jaguar-owned in-house free agents? We're going to do a deep dive into the Jaguar offseason. Mike Giannetti, the founder of Spotrac, joins us at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Also, my buddy Mike DiRocco, D-Rock, ESPN.com. We'll talk Jaguar GM search. We'll talk Liam Cohen and more with Mike DiRocco, and D-Rock joins us in about 15 minutes. So we're absolutely loaded. We're glad you're with us on a Monday. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Offseason is here for the Jaguars. It's been here for well over a month. And what an offseason it has been to this point, from the firing of Doug Peterson, the retainment and then ultimate firing of Trent Baalke, the hire of Liam Cohen, the ongoing general manager search, the hire of Tony Baselli as EVP of football operations, the hire of 29-year-old offensive coordinator Grant Udinski, 42-year-old defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile. It's been quite the 36 days since the Jaguar season ended. And in those 36 days, we've been so engrossed in what's going on with the coaching surge, what's going on with Trent Baalke, that now you kind of take a deep breath. And yeah, the GM search is still going on, and that's vital. Obviously, that's vital. But do you realize that in 2.5 weeks, we're in Indianapolis for the scouting combine? We're 1 month from today. 1 month from today till the, quote, legal tampering period for NFL free agency. And when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, one has to ask the question, what does the future hold for some of their guys, i.e. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, free agents like Andre Sisco, Brandon Sheriff? What is the future hold of the general manager position, which I think is going to be sorted out in the next 7 to 10 days max? I cannot imagine we are sitting here a week from Wednesday where we don't know who the GM is. I think it's going to happen quick. It needs to happen quick. And we ask ourselves, what needs to be done with this Jaguar roster to make them a contender? And how close are they to being a contender right now? Look, here's what I know, and I've heard this a lot today. I've heard this from some friends, some colleagues. I've heard this from a lot of different people. And if you go on the surface, they're right. People say, well, Philadelphia just won the Super Bowl last night. Remember, Jacksonville only lost 28-23. That was a game. Trevor Lawrence got intercepted, or else Jacksonville beats the ultimate world champions. Jacksonville's not that far away. And while it's true that game was 28-23, let me just remind you guys of something. And I didn't know a lot of this. I knew some of it, but not all of it. That game was not close. That game was not good team versus good team. That game was Saquon Barkley trips over his own foot and fumbles, and Trayvon Walker just happens to be there, picks it up, and runs for a touchdown. That game was Nick Sirianni going for it on like 1 million fourth downs and costing his team points after points after points to keep the Jaguars in the game. Do you realize that, quote, close game between Jacksonville and Philadelphia? Total yardage in that game: Philadelphia 447, Jacksonville 215. Total plays: Philadelphia 73, Jacksonville 51. Passing yards: Philadelphia 210, Jacksonville 155. Rushing yards: Philadelphia 237, Jacksonville 60. Philadelphia was 9 of 17 on third down conversions. Jacksonville was 3 of 10. The game wasn't close. It wasn't. And that narrative goes away as well when you talk about Detroit and Buffalo, those two games that Jacksonville played, where the Jaguars got outscored 99-16. 99-16. And you know why I know Jacksonville isn't close to being a contender, why we all should know that? Well, they got a new head coach and are going to have a new GM because those guys got fired because they didn't do a good enough job in 2024. The Jaguars are not close. It might sound good to say that, right? It might sound fun to say that. Do I think it's a dumpster fire here? No. I think there are some things to work with, certainly. But 4-13 is the reality. Getting absolutely boat raced by the best teams you played, Detroit and Buffalo. And even though the scoreboard was close against Philadelphia, the game stats in that ball game were not. It's Liam Cohen's job. It's Grant Udinski's job. It's Anthony Campanile's job. Tony Baselli, Shad Khan, Mark Lamping. They're all in this together. And who ultimately they hire as the GM. They're all in this together to turn this team into a contender. Are they there right now because they happen to lose to the eventual world champion by 5? No. Because I think the body of work will show you they were not in a lot of those other games, and even in that Philadelphia game, the score was a lot closer than how the game ultimately played out. Philadelphia was clearly the better ball club on that game in Philadelphia earlier in the year. Jaguars aren't close. They're a ways off, but you have to start down that path, and you do that by hiring a new head coach. You do that by bringing in a new staff. You do that with a new vision, a new general manager, and making good, sound personnel choices this offseason. An offseason that officially begins today in the NFL. Everybody is back to 0-0. Everybody is tied for first place. And the Jaguar fan base, Jaguar media that covers this team, everybody that has a vested interest in this ball club needs to hope that they made the right hires over the last couple of weeks to continue down the path of turning this team. They are not right now, but turning this team into a team that can contend with the better teams in the National Football League. Mike DiRocco, ESPN.com. We lovingly call him D-Rock. Let's talk Liam Cohen. Let's talk Tony Baselli. Let's talk GM search and more. And we'll do that with Mike DiRocco next on a Monday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. Hacker After Dark, in for Blue. We're glad you're with us right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
McCardell is the Thunder and the Thunder and Lightning combination, along with Jimmy Smith. Quite a duo.
1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here for the best weight loss program I've ever been on. And it's a weird time of year for me because I'm coming up on a year since I started Awaken 180. I remember the date. February 20th, 2024. I weighed in at 317 pounds. And now here we sit on February 10th, 2025, and I'm more than 110 pounds lighter than I was just a year ago. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. I had a guy see me out and about this weekend. He said, that's it. You've lost enough weight. You've kept it off. I'm making the call to Awaken 180. I said, good. It's life-changing. It's changed my life. It can change yours as well. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. Guys, if I can do it, you can do it. Trust me. Take it from somebody that lost over 100 pounds on this program and go to Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJacks.com.
Hey, poker fans, the action at the tables is hot at Best Bet with over $600,000 in promotions paid out this month. Don't miss out on table game giveaways, 24-karat gold day in Jacksonville, Instapay boost at St. Augustine, and the daily high hand promotions at all 3 locations. Whether you're a poker pro or a newcomer to the game, everyone has a shot at winning big. Go all in and join us at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com.
So you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Shopping for your Valentine and dreaming of seeing that smile? Then make sure you swing by Golden Diamonds Direct for a beautiful piece of jewelry made with quality and care. Go see for Golden Diamonds Direct in the Plantation Publix Plaza on Racetrack Road. They've been in business for over 40 years, taking care of customers the right way with great gift ideas. Golden Diamonds Direct on Racetrack Road in the Plantation Publix Plaza. Chip, Curtis, Sam, and the crew, they can take care of you so you can take care of your Valentine.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one, EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
Hammond, Valentine's Day is coming up. Got any romantic plans?
Dad, I'm married to Clean Air. My plan is to help Jacksonville families breathe easier.
You're helpless, but Clean Air does sound nice. Can duct cleaning really help?
Absolutely. Dust, allergens, even odors can build up in your ducts. Cleaning them now makes your air fresher and healthier for your family. The EPA says better indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So cleaning ducts are like Valentine's Day gift for the house.
Exactly. Forget chocolates. Fresh air lasts longer and doesn't melt. Plus, we've got a February special, $100 off your total.
All right, sign me up. Maybe fresh air will make Mom fall in love with me again all over.
You'll have to take her to dinner for that, but cleaner air will definitely help.
Fair enough. Jacksonville, if you're ready to show your home some love, Google Zerorez and read over 7,000 five-star reviews. Zerorez.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zerorez.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us all better, faster, stronger.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Super Bowl in the rearview mirror. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. A dominating win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now it's the offseason. Every team is back to 0-0, and we start looking ahead for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And while doing that, we take a look back on what has been a very, very wild 2 to 3 week stretch here in Northeast Florida. My buddy Mike DiRocco, D-Rock, ESPN.com, does a terrific job covering the Jaguars, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how we doing, man?
I'm good, Hacker. How are you?
Hey, Mike, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. The last time you and I spoke was about 3-4 weeks ago. And at that point, Trent Baalke was still the general manager. Liam Cohen had not said no thanks, but then turned around and said thanks 48 hours later. And the Jaguars really did not know what they were doing or what direction they were going. And it's amazing how much can change in 3 to 4 weeks' time. What do you make of everything that's transpired, Mike, over the last month?
Whew. Man, it was a bulky, not bulky, B-U-L-K-Y, a bulky, disjointed process that eventually ended up with the guy the Jags wanted. It wasn't pretty, but, they wanted, well, I should rephrase that. Shad Khan wanted a young, innovative offensive mind And when Ben Johnson was obviously not that guy, the next person on that list was Liam Cohen. And I'll give Shad Khan credit. He wanted him. He saw that there was an impediment, and Trent Baalke also saw that there was an impediment. They came to a mutual decision for him to go ahead and step away, and then allowed Shad Khan to go ahead and get back in the running for Liam Cohen. And he made the moves he needed to do to get the guy he wanted. So, whether he is the right guy and whether he's going to be a good head coach, obviously nobody knows that. We'll have to see how it plays out. But Shad Khan identified the guy he wanted and got him, and he deserves some credit for that.
Mike, I was saying this last week. It's the first time you could argue in 2.5 decades that the Jaguars have gone with a young offensive mind. I mean, you have to go back to Coughlin before talking about a young offensive mind as head coach. I mean, that's how long we're talking about here. I mean, no offense to the Jack Del Rios and the Gus Bradleys of the world, but those were young defensive minds. Obviously, Doug Marrone, Urban Meyer, Doug Peterson, Mike Mularkey certainly were not, the 30 or 40-somethings when they were hired. So this is a change. I mean, a quarter-century change here in Jacksonville, the philosophy they went with this head coach.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Shad Khan's owned the team since, 2012 was his first season. So going with the guy who has either been a proven head coach before or a defensive-minded head coach, with Gus Bradley, guys that have been head coaches that have succeeded at the highest level like Doug Peterson, all that has gotten him is sporadic success. And, there are a bunch of reasons for it. Absolutely. So it's not boiled down to just the decision on who to hire as the head coach. But I give Shad Khan credit. Trying something different. What you've done before hasn't worked. So at some point, you have to quit doing what you've done and try something different. And that's what this hire is with Liam Cohen. And, I sense a lot of excitement around that building now, even more so than I remember when they hired Doug Peterson. I think it's just sort of a whole, almost like a brand new beginning for the franchise. I mean, look, they had the thing at the stadium with Liam Cohen where he's, sitting out there on the field and answering questions, and they're doing a celebration and all that kind of stuff. It sort of just feels like a brand new beginning. And that had to be, I kind of want to say like just a rebirth of the franchise, which is weird to say when in reality we kind of expect that in 28 with the new stadium. But that's kind of what it feels like the energy is around there, like a rebirth. Like here's a young, energetic guy. Everybody's excited. Everybody's raring to go, hit the ground running and start immediately now that the staff is in place and they're heading to the combine in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, look, give Shad Khan credit. He wanted this. He made it happen. And a new approach might actually be the one that finally produces sustained success.
Mike DiRocco, ESPN.com. D-Rock, it's pretty wild to think Heath Farwell was the elder statesman of the coordinators and the head coach at 43 years of age. He is retained. Anthony Campanile comes in from Green Bay. Boy, he looked very angry in that photo they took of him, which I kind of like. And a defensive coordinator, I don't know if I need a nice smile. I need a tough, rugged defensive coordinator. And then Grant Udinski, cannot run for president of the United States for 6 years. I mean, he's 29 years old. I mean, what do you make of the youth at the coordinator positions?
Well, Liam Cohen's going to call the plays, obviously, on offense. So we know even there, that's a less than 40-year-old play caller in the NFL as well. So let's not forget that, too. But new blood, like I said, and energy and a new, fresh approach. And that's – it's all great and everything, and I like the enthusiasm and the energy this staff is bringing for sure. We got to see how the players respond to it. So far, of the players that we've briefly said a couple of words to or whatever, it seems like they really like Liam Cohen and are excited about what's going on there. But these guys are unproven at this coordinator level, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not. But when you want to try and rebrand your franchise, which is a little bit what the Jags are kind of doing, there's no better way to do it than going with young, enthusiastic, energetic, and a little touch of crazy coaches here. And that's what we're going to see out of this group. Now, again, obviously it all depends on how things play out, but you like what they've done in terms of being energetic and enthusiastic and, creating a sense of can't wait for the season to start, which is crazy when you consider the season that they just had.
One of the local aspects too, Mike, and you've been around Northeast Florida for a long, long time as I have. The Edgar Bennett story is pretty cool, is it not, coming back here to be a position coach?
Absolutely. The former Lee High School star, FSU, played in the NFL, got a Super Bowl title. So yeah, it's good to see the hometown guy come back, and I think everybody here enjoys it when there were former Jags on staff like Keenan McCardell. It just kind of gives everyone here sort of a sense of the past success that the Jags had, and some success from the Jacksonville guys. Edgar Bennett is probably one of the best high school players that's ever played here, and it's good to see him back here in town.
A couple of more from Mike DiRocco of ESPN.com. All right, D-Rock, the next order of business is a general manager. I mean, keep in mind, you mentioned the Combine. They're on the field doing drills at the Combine 2 weeks from Thursday. Free agency is basically a month away. I mean, the Jaguars got to get going here, and let me start by asking you this. I just did a quick poll last week here from some people on the text line and on social media about Ethan Waugh and the whole, Trent Baalke factor of Ethan Waugh. And again, I probably had 100 people respond, and it was not positive because of his relationship with Trent Baalke. What's your thought there? Will the fan base anyway, if it is Ethan Waugh, and who knows if it will be, but if it is, will the fan base be accepting of that, or will they be upset because of the Trent Baalke relationship?
I don't think they'll be as upset as they were when Trent Baalke was retained, but I do think there will be a little bit of, well, that's Trent's guy. Trent brought him in here. And is there a little bit of lingering Trent philosophy or the way Trent treated people, or, just kind of, is it Trent 2.0? And I don't think that's the case. Everything I've heard from people inside the building about Ethan Waugh is he is a grinder and he works a ton, and he's a guy who treats other people pretty well. There's a level of respect there. I don't know that he has the, from what I've been told, the ability to sort of command the room kind of thing, which you kind of want in your GM, especially when you're leading everyone through the evaluation process for the draft and free agency. But I've been told he's going to be a serious candidate. He'll be one of the finalists, obviously, when they do those final in-person interviews, especially because he's right here. He'll probably be the first one interviewed. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got it. But, give the guy a chance, I guess, is what the Jags would say, for Ethan Waugh, if he were the one who were to become the GM. I think, honestly, if you want to go this whole rebrand franchise route, which I think is the way, obviously, the Jags are going, I think you need somebody from the outside, a fresh approach and a fresh look at stuff, but we'll see how it works out.
Now, I would be lying if I said I knew a lot about these guys. Ian Cunningham appeared to be the popular choice among the fan base. And then this cat, James Gladstone, showed up on my timeline, the guy from L.A., and just telling me he's the director of scouting for the Rams. That's certainly good enough. But then I started watching videos of this guy and some of the things he was telling the coaching staff and the scouts heading into the draft last year. And I think, Mike, at this point, I might be on the James Gladstone bandwagon. I mean, what's your thought on some of the outside candidates?
Look, he was exceptionally impressive. I saw those same videos you were talking about on social media and what have you, and a very impressive guy. Absolutely. To me, get the guys that have been with successful franchises, that have won the draft, that have had massive success on the field, and that's, go get somebody from the Philadelphia Eagles. Go get somebody from the Kansas City Chiefs. Go get somebody from the Los Angeles Rams. Take a look at those guys in those personnel departments, in the scouting departments there, and see if there are guys that you would be interested in from the Jags' perspective to be your new GM. Get guys that have been around success, that have learned from GMs that have had success, and see if those guys are fit here. Because I think that's honestly, there's no way you can look at what happened yesterday and see the way that the Eagles dominated the Kansas City Chiefs and how they constructed that roster and how they built along the offensive and defensive lines, and the way the job Howie Roseman has done over the last decade or so has been phenomenal. So if you can find somebody, whether it's there or at the Rams or with the Kansas City Chiefs, that has sort of gone through that, seen the process from beginning to end, then I think that's a viable candidate and a guy that you really should be interested in. And again, I don't know a lot of the names of these guys, but I know that if I were trying to hire a GM for this team, those are the organizations that I would look at first.
Final moments, Mike DiRocco of ESPN.com. D-Rock, as we begin to wrap up, the general manager search is important and time is of the essence here because, franchise tags can start being handed out next week. Look, the combine is in 2.5 weeks. We talk about free agency, and the Jaguars have some interesting decisions to make. I had the boys from Spotrac on earlier. The big one is Christian Kirk, right? There are a lot of savings there if you release Christian Kirk. Now, the question is, can you release him and bring him back? If you choose not to release him, how does that affect your cap? And that's all stuff that you need a general manager to figure out, right? So, they got to get going pretty quickly here.
Yeah, or could you find a way to restructure, with Christian Kirk as well? And here's the other one. Evan Ingram has his salary, I think it's 14.5, becomes guaranteed on the 5th day of the league year. That's a guy that you got to make a decision on as well. And in order to do that, you've got to be here and evaluate the rest of the roster. Because if you're taking Christian Kirk and you're saying, goodbye, we love what you did, but we're going to move on, you have to have the belief that Parker Washington is going to give you pretty much what Christian Kirk did, or at least close to that level. So it's February 10. I would anticipate there being a GM in place by, the time the tags have to go out. I can't imagine this process dragging on because, again, got to get the guy in here. He's got to meet guys. He's got to he's got to talk to the personnel department. He's got to talk to the scouting department. They got to come up with what they're doing, their plans. So you got to go to the combine. So we'll see how that works out. But I would not expect this process to take very long, maybe 8 to 10 days at the most.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think maybe even within a week, but outside 8 to 10 days, you got to have a GM in place. And we believe those virtual interviews have begun starting today. Mike DiRocco of ESPN.com. D-Rock, what do you have coming out on ESPN.com in the coming days?
Well, we're working on some free agency previews, some combine preview stuff here at ESPN. I'll be heading out to the combine, obviously, early in that week, just to hope to get some one-on-one FaceTime with Liam Cohen and whoever ends up being the Jags GM, and meet some of those guys with the coaching staff, and just kind of get to know those guys a little bit.
Mike, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Appreciate it, Hack.
Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Your new roof from Universal Roof and Contracting can help save a life. Percentage of every new roof this month will go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude's is leading the way. The world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. This promotion ends February 28th. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
If you'd like to try something different this year for Valentine's Day, you'll find great gift ideas from
Beard's Diamonds and Jacksonville Flower Market.
Find everything you need to know at 1010XL.com. Happy Valentine's Day from 1010XL.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. And a year ago, February 20th to be exact, is when I started on my Awaken 180 journey. At that point, I weighed 317 pounds. I was in a bad way, man. There's no other way to describe it. I was in a bad way. And now here we are, basically a year later, and I'm down over 115 pounds. And it's all thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. I tried a lot of different things over the years. Nothing ever worked. Awaken 180 worked like a charm. Again, the best weight loss program I've ever been on. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor. Do your family a favor and go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com. Look, if I can do it, you can do it. And you could be their next success story. Do it today at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at dermagnify.com. dermagnify.com.
Jacksonville, get ready to spice up your night at One Night Taco Stand. Every Taco Tuesday, enjoy their mouth-watering tacos for just $2.99 and get your weekend started with 2-for-1 house margaritas. Find fresh Mexican street food, stiff drinks, and fun vibes at One Night Taco Stand with 3 Jacksonville locations in Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. In for Baloo tonight, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we'll take a deep dive into the Jaguar offseason, kind of an outlook into the offseason with Mike Ginnetti. Who's Mike Ginnetti, you ask? Well, Mike Ginnetti is the founder of the website Spotrac, who this time of year is a very popular website. Spotrac does everything when it comes to contracts, salary cap numbers, impending free agency, projected money for said players. It's a very valuable resource for NFL and really all sports fans. They don't only do the NFL, but every other major sport as well. So we're going to have Mike on to just talk about Jacksonville, talk about the savings that Jacksonville would have if Christian Kirk were released or if Evan Ingram were released. What about Andre Sisco as an unrestricted free agent? Brandon Sheriff as an unrestricted free agent. I think you will find it very, very interesting where Jacksonville is against the cap, what they can do to maybe manipulate the cap a little bit, because keep in mind, we're 1 month from today until the legal tampering period, as they refer to it, of NFL free agency. So Mike Ginnetti, the founder of Spotrac, comes up in about 15 or so minutes. You know, I'm old enough to remember Florida State fans having such a good time with their Gator brethren on April the 8th. And you ask, well, what do you mean they had a good time on April the 8th? Well, remember, there were a couple of years there where Florida went 4-8. And I remember on social media, the Florida 4-8ers, right? That was a common thing. Happy Florida Gator Day, Florida State fans would put out there for April 8th because of the 4-8 football record. But you see, it's so funny how things can kind of come back at you a little bit. And in the interest of fairness, right, because that's what we do here on Hacker After Dark, we're fair and we're objective. So in the interest of fairness, I did want to point out, for those of you that are Florida State fans that, you know, gave Gator fans the business on April the 8th, the Florida 4-8ers, right? And you know if it was you. Well, I'm going to welcome you to Florida State Day today. Happy FSU Day. Garnet and gold flowing through your veins, because here we sit on February the 10th, otherwise known as 2-10. So if April the 8th was Florida Gator Day a few years back, I guess I'm announcing today that February the 10th, at least for the year 2025, shouldn't that be Florida State Day? So happy Florida State Day, 2-10, February 10th, to all those who observe. By the way, it's been an interesting offseason for Florida State. We're going to talk more about that. You realize the Seminoles haven't played a football game in 2.5 months. And what an offseason it's been, from the hiring of Gus Malzahn to everything they did in the portal, Tommy Castellanos. Florida State starts spring football in the next couple of weeks. We'll start branching back out into some Seminole talk, Gator talk as well, with Billy Napier and the football team. But speaking of Florida, Saturday on the hardwood, that was big time, man. That was big time. And look, I'm never, how should I say this? I would like to think that I'm never one to toot my own horn. Some of you may disagree with that if you've listened to me over the years, but I like to think that I'm fairly reasonable when it comes to that. And trust me, I'm wrong a lot. I am wrong an awful lot. And thankfully, I have a lot of you that point that out to me on a semi-regular basis. But one of the things that I was not wrong about had to do with Gator basketball. And I was not wrong about this fact. It's a fact at this point. It's no longer an opinion. Mike White was holding this team back. Mike White was holding this program back. For those people that said, oh, Mike White's done a good job and they're getting to the tournament regularly and Mike White is not the problem. Well, no, that is not accurate. That has been proven to be not accurate in just 2.5 years. Because in just 2.5 years, the Florida Gators took a coach from San Francisco who was 36, 37 years old when he took the job, in Todd Golden. And in 2.5 years, he has the Gators ranked in the top 5 of the AP poll for the first time since 2017. They're now ranked number 3. They've beat not 1, but 2 number 1 teams this year. The first number 1 team they beat was their first win at home over a number 1 team, which was Tennessee a few weeks ago. And now they went into Auburn, the number 1 team in the land. And that, of course, is the first road win over a number 1 team. And I'll tell you what was so satisfying about Saturday for Gator fans, what should have been so satisfying, is A, you're without Elijah Martin, who's arguably your second best player, and you still won the game. But more so than that, at least to me, Auburn wins with shooting the basketball, but Auburn wins by being the bully in the room, right? They're the bully. They're the bully in A Christmas Story with the yellow teeth and pushing around the little guy. I mean, that's what Auburn does with their physicality up front. They just wear people down, and ultimately all those teams have succumbed to them in the final couple of minutes. Well, Florida knocked them right in the mouth on their home floor. Alex Condon, Chinelu, Sam Alexis, Thomas Haug. Are you kidding me? Thomas Haug, the sophomore, made one of the best plays that Florida is going to have this entire season. 76-67. Auburn just makes a three, cuts the score to 9. That fan base is going bonkers. 7.5 minutes to go. Walter Clayton puts up a three, hits the front rim. Thomas Haug turns into Superman, absolutely levitates to the ball, tipping it back to Denzel Aberdeen, who hit a three to get the lead back to 12, and that was the game. The game was over at that point. Over. What a win for Gator basketball. Out-bullied the bully on their home floor. Now, I think tomorrow is actually a tough putt for the Gators because you have to come off the euphoria of knocking off the number one team in the country on their home floor, and you got to go back out on the road and play another ranked team in their gym against Mississippi State and Starkville. A game, of course, you'll hear right here on 1010XL. So I think that potentially could be a tough putt for Florida tomorrow. We'll see. But on Saturday, for the Gators to go in there and do what they did without Elijah Martin, this Gator basketball team could win the national championship. They could. And Todd Golden, in 2.5 years on the job, has gotten the Gators back to kind of where Billy Donovan had them at one point. Now, Billy was consistent with them. That's what happens when you go to 4 Final Fours and win back-to-back national titles. I'm not comparing Florida under Golden to Florida under Billy. What I'm saying is Golden has them back in the top 5 for the first time in 7.5 years. Golden has wins over 2 number 1 teams, one at home, one on the road. That win over Auburn Saturday was probably the biggest regular season win Florida has had in, a decade? I think that's safe to say, maybe even longer than a decade. So for those Gator fans that wanted Mike White and didn't think Mike White was the problem, well, Mike White was fine. Mike White was never going to have a bad team necessarily. They were going to be a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10 seed, and they might win a game in the NCAA tournament. Or maybe Chris Chiozza will throw up a shot at the buzzer and beat Wisconsin, and they'll have a magical run to the Elite Eight, which that 2017 team was the best team that Mike White had. But Todd Golden, what he's got that Mike White never had, those Mike White teams were a lot of finesse. Didn't it seem like that? Good guard play, but when push came to shove in the middle, in the paint with the big uglies down there, those Mike White teams didn't fare very well in games like that. Well, not this Gator team. This Gator team just absolutely looked the number 1 team in the face on their home floor, a place they had not lost, a place they were 21-1. Auburn was going into that game Saturday. Sold out crowd, standing room only. Tickets for the cheapest ticket was like $400. And Florida went in there and absolutely beat them to death on the glass. Out-bullied the bully, and that was a awesome win for the Florida Gators. Absolutely awesome. Congrats to Todd Golden, congrats to that staff, and congrats to that team. Because that was a lot of fun to watch. Because it was a Florida team like we haven't seen in quite some time. And Auburn kept responding. Auburn would not go away. Auburn played well. They hit big three after big three after big three, but Florida responded every single time. And this Gator team, man, if you're not on board and if you're a Gator fan, I'd get on board quick. It could be a fun March. Because they are absolutely one of the 10 teams nationally that could win the national championship. I have no hesitation in saying that this Gator team could win the national championship. And you haven't said that about a Florida team in a long, long time. And it's all thanks to Todd Golden. Some more on Gator basketball coming up at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. In fact, we will go to Gainesville in about 40 minutes. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, covering the Florida Gators. And we will do more of a deep dive into that win over Auburn, preview Mississippi State, and talk about everything related to Florida Gator hoops. Of course, the big story was the Super Bowl last night. The Philadelphia Eagles are your world champions. Just an absolutely dominating performance. And you got to wonder, and I don't think this is going to be the case, but it is certainly a conversation to have, right? Boy, Kansas City took it on the chops last night. Could that be the beginning of the end of this dynasty that Kansas City has had? Now, Mahomes is 29. I don't think Kansas City is going to fall off a cliff by any stretch of the imagination. But Travis Kelce looks like he's just about done, right? It looks like Father Time has caught him pretty quick. Chris Jones isn't getting any younger. You know, you look at the skill position, Xavier Worthy looks like a player, but I mean, Hollywood Brown's a free agent. He didn't do very much due to injury this year. You got Juju Smith-Schuster, who's a guy. Defensively, Philadelphia was doing kind of whatever they wanted against that Spagnuolo defense. It's one game, so I don't want to jump to conclusions, but Kansas City got physically whipped last night on both lines of scrimmage. And if I'm Buffalo, if I'm Baltimore, if I'm Cincinnati, if I'm Houston, heck, if I'm Jacksonville, and Kansas City's been ruling the roost in the AFC for the last 7 years, first thing I watch when I play them is I watch what Philadelphia did. I watch what Vic Fangio did, because Kansas City and Andy Reid had no answer. No answer until it was way too late, and Philadelphia took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. 40-22 was not near as indicative of what an absolute butt-kicking that was last night. A butt-kicking Philadelphia gave to Kansas City. And Nick Sirianni, how about give some credit to that guy? 2 Super Bowls before the age of 45 and now 1 world championship. Isn't football funny? You could have legitimately argued after the Michigan loss that Ryan Day was on the hot seat. And then he beats Tennessee, he beats Oregon, he beats Texas, and he beats Notre Dame and wins the national championship. Well, the same thing about Sirianni. You could argue Sirianni was on a hot seat in late September. And all they did was go 16-1 in their last 17 and win the world title. Life comes at you pretty quick in football, man. Ryan Day at Ohio State, Nick Sirianni, Philadelphia, living proof of that. With that win last night, we're into the NFL offseason. Let's do a deep dive into the Jaguar offseason. Let's talk salary cap. Let's talk contracts. Let's talk free agency. And let's do it with one of the best, Mike Ginnetti, the founder of the website Spotrac, joins me next to talk everything Jaguar offseason. That's coming up right here. Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us. 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jacksonville Sports Radio. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. It's new year, new truck time at Nimnik Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% and 0 APR financing. Yes, 0%. You can't find deals like this anywhere in Jacksonville. Shop 24/7 online at NimnikBuickGMC.com. Value your trade and customize your payment options in seconds. Nimnik Buick GMC. GMC, we are professional grade.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at BarryOrthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at BarryOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Upgrade your home with the winning combination of style and performance from Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires February 28th. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards. And it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
To...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. The Super Bowl in the rearview mirror. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. But now everybody's back to 0-0. The offseason officially begins, so we get to talk about salary caps and contracts and free agency and how to rebuild or retool, I guess, this Jacksonville Jaguar roster. With that, let's go to Mike Giannetti of Spotrac. He is certainly the guy to talk to this time of year, and Mike's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how we doing, man?
Good, Ryan. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, Mike, we always appreciate it. Busy time for you. Quickly, before we get into the salary cap and what you think the Jaguars may or may not do, the offseason officially begins this week, but it's been a crazy 35 days already for the Jaguars. New head coach, new EVP of football operations, soon to be a new general manager. What's been your thought on everything that's transpired here in Jacksonville?
Wild, for sure, right? I mean, some of the stuff as planned, and I think some decisions had to be forced instead of made, and that's probably a tough way to be starting off this league year, but it seems like the pieces that are falling into place are going to be up to task, at least looking in, and it's going to be aggressive, right? I think that's generally what happens with new regimes, that in quite a few places this offseason, but generally the sense is you got to put your foot down, got to put your mark on this roster pretty quickly, and I think from the Jaguars standpoint, at least from what I've been able to look at, that might mean more subtraction than addition this offseason, and I think that might thing for this organization going forward.
Now let's look at the Jaguars first, the salary cap situation. That's the first thing everybody wants to look at. Mike, where are the Jaguars in relation to every other team when it comes to available cap room?
Yeah, about 33 of top 50, top 51 cap space. So that's going to be pretty average to start things off. And quite frankly, they're about 17th on the list right now. So almost exactly average. Plenty of ways to maneuver that, as you probably know. There's plenty of ways to open up or go backwards if the signings start to hit. But it's a good starting spot in terms of where they need for their draft capital and certainly for free agency on March 12th.
So I guess the big question, again, Mike Giannetti of Spotrac here with us, the big question right off the top is the Christian Kirk question, right? My understanding is the Jaguars go from mid-30s in cap room to upwards of high 40s to low 50s in cap room simply by releasing Christian Kirk. But again, that's easier said than done with how valuable Kirk is to this roster.
$10.5 million of savings to move on from him, but you're right. There's a reason that he was brought in, and I think for the most part he's done his job when healthy, but that healthy part has been a big problem for a lot of the Jaguars situations. So it's probably a scenario, Brian, where you move off this contract and then try to re-sign him similar this offseason. It's a really rough wide receiver market, which, by the way, might be a reason to keep him because, A, he may be overvalued in free agency and not able to be brought back. And it's not a situation you're going to easily replace either via free agency or the draft, knowing what we've seen over the next couple of months here. So it's a tough choice. Again, if the plan is to subtract aggressively and not add aggressively, you're moving on and freeing up the $10.5 million pretty much out of the gate here with Christian Kirk.
Yeah, $10.5 million of savings with Christian Kirk. Again, could you potentially bring him back? That is a question. Mike, I guess the next one would be Evan Ingram, right? That's another interesting contract. What's your thought there?
Yeah, you're probably stuck with him for one more year, and that's probably an okay thing. I really liked the signing when it happened. I thought the relationship with Trevor Lawrence was working out well, and quite frankly, the injuries for each of these players kind of staggered their ability to kind of come together. So it's not a move on. Maybe you float him on the trade block and see if you can bulk up some draft assets in the second day or something like that. But I'm keeping him for now versus the $6 million that could be saved by moving on from him.
Trent Baalke, as you probably know, did not make a lot of friends among the Jaguar fan base here. But I will say, Mike, and again, you're the guy to ask, salary cap-wise, contract-wise, I mean, Baalke kind of left the Jaguars in reasonably good standing, did he not?
Reasonably good, but there are some void years that we need to take care of here, right? Which means there's dead cap coming. But for the most part, yes, I think the way things were handled are pretty modern, pretty well done. He's sort of adjusted his approach from his days back in San Francisco when everything was sort of front loaded and he took everything on the chin. So it seems like he was headed in the right direction. There's just a lot of factors that went into place that this current roster isn't working out right now, and they're going to have to clean up some of that mess, unfortunately, to get to the next iteration.
Mike Giannetti of Spotrac. All right, when you look at the Jaguar free agents, the interesting thing, Mike, is there's just not a lot of guys. I think they only have like 10 or 11 unrestricted free agents and only 2 starters, Brandon Sheriff and Andre Sisco. And look, I'm sorry to say this because I like Brandon, but that cap number and his age, I mean, there's no way you bring him back at that rate, correct?
It's not. You're going to take on $13.8 million of dead cap, though, because of the void years. That's one of the big ones I just mentioned here. So it's going to be a little bit of pain just to move on from him. Can you get him back on some sort of renegotiation, some sort of pay cut extension to keep him in the fold, to make sure that the offensive line somewhat stays bolstered? You're certainly going to have to add to that, though. But that also keeps the dead cap spread out a little bit here. So if the play is to sort of rebuild on the fly, he's a player I'm identifying as an early extension candidate at something team-friendly because he's 34 going on 35 here. But look, my guess is I'm with you. Most of these 10 free agents are just walking out the door, and it's going to be a fresh batch coming in here in March and April.
As far as the safety market in free agency, we talk about Andre Sisco. It certainly was not a great year for Andre Sisco in 2024. What would be his cap number if they were to bring him back? Where do you think he falls in the market, and how does he relate to the other safeties that are available?
Yeah, the production was somewhat there, right? He's pretty consistent in terms of health and being on the field, and that's more than a lot of these free agent safeties are able to say right out of the gate. So I've got him at about $10 million on a 1-year contract, sort of like a prove-it contract coming off of what has been a fairly successful rookie campaign here. He did get a boost in terms of his last salary, so he's in that market right now to get a decent raise. But I would imagine that he's one of those guys in the mid-tiers right now. So if it ends up being like 2 for 15, 2 for 16, I'm not going to be surprised with that. Most likely you're going to see one of the contending teams identifying him as value going forward over the next couple of months.
As far as the Christian Kirks and Evan Ingrams of the world, is there anybody else on the Jaguar roster at a certain salary cap number that you could move into future years or gain more room this year by simply renegotiating? Because we've seen the Jaguars do that a lot in recent years.
Yeah, I would imagine that's on the plate for a few of these players, right? The Walker Littles of the world have a base salary you can move on from here and turn into signing bonus. What are you doing with Travis Etienne's 5th-year option, which is guaranteed? There's something to be said there. But for the most part, I think it's quiet, Ryan, in that regard this offseason. It's going to be more about let's just understand what we have instead of trying to push too much down the road, which is what Balky's situation was for the past couple of seasons. So maybe 1 or 2 finagles, especially if they're identifying a splashy free agent that they want to account for in terms of salary cap space. But I think they have enough room to walk into March 12th right now and just sort of lay the land out and understand what the landscape's going to be before making too many of those decisions that's going to hurt them in a couple of years.
Let me give you 3 names the Jaguar fans are talking about. T. Higgins, Javon Holland, and Trevon Moehrig. Yeah. What's your thought on those 3?
Well, I'm thinking defense first. So if the Holland name is the one in the list, that's the top of the name. The problem is that's a top of the market safety in terms of valuation. We've got him right up there in the Antoine Winfields of the world, even though the production's a little bit less. The supply-demand situation for him is going to be huge. So if you're Jacksonville kind of coming in tier 2 of free agency, right? If you've got your contenders and then the tier 2s, you're going to have to overpay for a guy like that, which is something that this team's had to do quite a bit over the past few off seasons. So I think I'm out on T. Higgins for a lot of reasons with this organization. I'd rather them keep Christian Kirk and try to keep some of these things together and maybe see what a healthy Trevor Lawrence can do with them versus splashy there. But you got to continue to go big defensively and see you figure something out. And I do think a player like Holland is exactly where it belongs.
Final moments, Mike Giannetti of Spotrac. I hate to say the word stuck, but I'm going to do that. The Jaguars are stuck with Gabe Davis, right?
Yeah, fully guaranteed this year. There's no reason to buy him out. I don't think he's got any trade value because the injuries have sort of been there every single season. Maybe it's something you can package with another player or a pick if you need to do that for some sort of situation. But right now, very little value to keep or to move, and for that, you're just going to have to keep him.
Trayvon Walker, 3 years in the league. He's now eligible for an extension. Would it be financially justified to do that this offseason or try to get that done?
Look, it's all about how they understand what his value is internally, right? I just had a huge segment on this Philadelphia Eagles situation, right? And one of their superpowers is they know exactly what their players are, and they extend them early and often, and they get cap value because they've done that. So if that's the plan, if this guy's going to be here for 4 more years and you're comfortable guaranteeing 3 of them right now, do it now, get it on the books so that you can make big splashes with more internal players or certainly more external players over the next few off seasons after you sort of understand exactly what holes you have going forward. But if they love him, I'd pay him right now.
Mike, as we begin to wrap up, how would you assess the free agent class as a whole? Positions of strength, positions of weakness?
Yeah, there's quite a few interior offensive linemen that I like in this free agency. I'd say the same for a couple of edge rushers, especially now that we include some trade candidates in that conversation. So those two positions specifically I'm looking at, it's weak otherwise. It's weak running backs, it's weak tight ends, it's weak wide receivers, it's very weak quarterbacks, even with some of these older players falling off rosters here. It's going to be a big year for draft picks. Let's put it that way. So if you've got a player that you know long-term isn't going to be on your roster, I think you're thinking about flipping that player for draft picks right now. And even though it's not a phenomenally great draft, 2026 is set up to be a phenomenally great draft. So you're thinking about probably 2-year windows here with a lot of transactions that happen over the next couple of weeks. And for a team like Jacksonville, that's exactly the mindset is. If we don't think a player is going to be here in 24 months, let's get a 2026 draft pick for him right now and really get ourselves in a situation where we can rebuild this thing over an 18-month process and get ourselves back in division contention.
Mike, final question. The Combine's 2.5 weeks away. Free agency's a month away, and the Jaguars currently do not have a general manager, which that's pretty wild to think about. You've done this for a long time. You're the guy to talk to in this line of work. I mean, how much behind the 8 ball does that put Jacksonville with this whole new league calendar beginning in about a month?
A lot, especially if there are internal players that should be getting contracts right now, and that's sort of not happening, or it's happening with people that shouldn't be making those decisions. I'm concerned about that for sure. But also, the wink-wink conversations that agents will be having at combines and all those things that go into the offseason play. You want to make sure you have somebody established and somebody that agents feel comfortable doing business with, or otherwise you're going to be swinging and missing on a lot of free agents, a lot of opportunities, certainly some trade stuff. You need somebody in there that can be having those conversations with other GMs right now, because I will say this, we have not had a half dozen big-time trade block players like we have right now in any other offseason that I can remember. I think it's going to be a ferocious trade year, and you certainly need somebody in that seat right now, at least answering phone calls.
So you do believe, whether it's Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, guys of that sort could be dealt this offseason?
Yeah, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, there's, aging older players that are going to need a lot of money, unfortunately, but they're happening, and they're happening right now. And we can put some of these, Matthew Stafford's, Derek Carr's. I do think it's going to be a big, big year for at least trade conversations with notable players as some of these teams understand where they are in their iterations.
Mike, it's certainly your time of year. Tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about Spotrac and what they can look forward to as free agency looms in about a month.
Yeah, the big new thing is we've beefed up our management tools for these NFL salary caps. So go to your favorite team salary cap page on our site, or get the app. There's an NFL salary cap manager app in the Apple App Store, and you can do all the stuff we just talked about: salary conversions, free agent signings, extensions, franchise tags, all the works. You can manipulate your salary cap as if you're sitting in that GM chair yourself.
Absolutely love it. Mike Ginnetti of Spotrac. Mike, again, thank you for taking time out. We'll get you back on hopefully when the free agency dust settles, and we'll see how the Jaguars fared. Thank you, pal.
Thank you.
There you go, Mike Ginnetti of Spotrac. Always enjoy his time with us here on Hacker After Dark. And I thought it was interesting, he talks about the trades and the trade market. Well, it came out earlier that Deebo Samuel has been, granted permission to look for a trade outside of San Francisco. Look, I think Deebo Samuel's best football is behind him. He's 29 years old. He's got injury concerns. He's still a good player. Don't get me wrong. And the reason I bring him up is I would classify it as an interesting idea on PFF. One of their mock drafts earlier today had a trade going down between Jacksonville and San Francisco, where San Francisco moved up to number 5. So the Jaguars give up 5, but in return, they get number 11 and Deebo Samuel. They trade down 6 spots. So Jacksonville goes from 5 to 11. But in doing so, you also get Deebo Samuel, which I would not do if I was Jacksonville, but I found it entertaining to at least look at. It wasn't one of those trade scenarios where I thought that's ludicrous. I don't think it's ludicrous, Deebo Samuel and 11 for number 5. I thought it was, again, interesting. And so I bring it to you. What are your thoughts on that? Hit me up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 641-1010. More on the National Football League. We'll also do a little Gator basketball talk coming up in about 15 or so minutes. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, and Swamp 247 down in Gainesville. But before we do all that, we are givers here on Hacker After Dark. We like to give back to you, the hardworking men and women of Northeast Florida, of Jacksonville, Florida, USA. And as we tend to do from time to time here on Hacker After Dark, we have a little something for you right now. Dylan Denmark. Tell them what they can have.
We got a $25 gift card to Flowers of Jacksonville as part of our 1010XL Valentine's Day gift guide. Visit 1010XL.com for more great gift ideas. And what color are we doing here?
A $25 gift card, Flowers of Jacksonville. It is that time of year, fellas. It is Valentine's Day. It's a big day for you. We'll take caller 4 right now. 641-1010. Caller 4, $25 gift card. Flowers of Jacksonville is yours. Caller 4 here to Hacker After Dark. Dylan Denmark will hook you up. Call 641-1010.
Tensions build.
3rd and 12. Let's go.
Plot thickens.
We got to get off the field.
Crowds roar. Tune in and let the show begin. Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Skilled trade jobs are booming, so begin your high-pay, high-demand career today through the Northeast Florida Builders Association. Their apprenticeship program provides paid training in some of the most highly sought-after skilled trades. Get paid while you train, full-time, in carpentry, electrical, HVAC, or plumbing. Plus, earn a 10% raise every year, and the classes are 100% tuition-free. Start your new career today and apply this week at nefpaapprenticeship.org.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Hi, Flying Jacko here, and when you're inside the Kuhn Flowers showroom, you'll find a wide array of gift ideas that'll take care of any gift-giving situation. Spend a few minutes there and you'll see for yourself. Kuhn Flowers on Beach Boulevard.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at theirmagnify.com. Theirmagnify.com.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
Jacksonville, get ready to spice up your night at One Night Taco Stand. Every Taco Tuesday, enjoy their mouth-watering tacos for just $2.99 and get your weekend started with 2-for-1 house margaritas. Find fresh Mexican street food, stiff drinks, and fun vibes at One Night Taco Stand with 3 Jacksonville locations in Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Hacker After Dark and for Blue. Glad you're with us. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, covering the Florida Gator basketball team, comes up in about 15 minutes. You know, every year on this day, I like to go down memory lane with my buddy Dylan Denmark in there as we were running the clock back about 5 months to our NFL season predictions and see how either wrong or how right we were 5 months later. All right, Denmark, we got every division that we talked about the Thursday night of the opener. I guess let's begin with what you and I thought was going to transpire in the AFC East. Give me Buffalo, followed by Miami. I got the Jets third, the Patriots fourth, although I do think Buffalo, Miami, and New York will all be 8+ wins in 2024.
Bills win the division. I don't think it's that tough for them to win it. And I don't think the rest of the teams make the playoffs.
Well, you were spot on there. That's a win for Denmark. I think I had the order right. It was Buffalo, Miami, New York, New England, but that's relative. I was way too high on the Jets. All right, let's stay in the AFC. Let's go to the AFC North. What did we think 5 months ago? Give me Cincinnati as the AFC North champion, followed by Baltimore. I'll take Cleveland third and Pittsburgh in the rear in fourth.
Baltimore wins the division, I think. I mean, it's 50-50 between them and Cincy. This was the hardest one to pick, but I think Baltimore, they get the division here.
All right, I might just need to switch out with Denmark here. Maybe I should go in that room and Denmark comes in here. Denmark's up 2-0.
Just keep waiting.
Pittsburgh really let me down. All right, let's skip the South for a moment. Let's go out to the AFC West. Give me Kansas City to win the AFC West. I think the Raiders are going to be horrible. I had a hard time between Chargers, Broncos. I think Denver's going to be better than people think. But at the end of the day, give me Justin Herbert over the rookie Bo Nix. Give me Kansas City 1, LA 2, Denver 3, Las Vegas a distant 4.
I got the same as you, and I think the Chargers will make the playoffs as a wild card.
All right, we were both pretty good there. I like my Denver pick.
Yeah, I don't know if you said who's going to make the playoffs, but...
Yeah, that's kind of my saving grace. At least I said Denver is going to be better than people thought. All right, to the NFC. What did we think about the NFC East back in September? The Giants are going to be terrible. I think Washington's going to be better than people think, but they're still going to be third. I don't believe in Dallas enough to put them over Philly. I do think Philadelphia ultimately wins this division.
People forget Philly collapsed worse than Jacksonville, but Philly started the season 10-1, or was it? They were 10-1. Jacksonville was 8-3, but Philly made the playoffs and they ended bad. I think Philly they don't have the season they want. I think Dallas just wins by default.
Yikes! Oops. All right, yeah, Denmark kind of come unraveled there.
And I had Washington make the playoffs.
Yeah, I said Washington was going to be better, but that's relative. I mean, they were better, so I guess I'm technically correct. All right, let's head up to the NFC North. Minnesota to me is 4. I think they're going to be bad with Sam Darnold. Chicago is much improved, but I have them third. Give me Green Bay 2, and by a whisker, I have the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North.
Lions win the division. Green Bay, close second. Probably the best division in football.
What did Minnesota go, 14-3? Yeah, that's my worst one. I said they were going to be awful. Ugh, that was an awful, awful prognostication back in early September. All right, where are we going? Let's go to the NFC South. The Falcons I have second by a whisker. Again, by a hair. Give me Tampa Bay to win the division over Atlanta by maybe a game.
I had Atlanta winning the division, but this is my least confident pick.
I think we were both right about that, right? Tampa Bay, or at least I did Tampa Bay over Atlanta. I'll take that. NFC West, what did we have? To me, this is San Francisco and everybody else, but I do think the Los Angeles Rams are going to be an interesting story. Give me San Francisco 1, give me the Rams 2, give me Arizona, and maybe a surprise, number 3. Give me Seattle 4. I think it might be a tough year for the Seahawks in the Great Northwest.
I think the Niners take a step back, and I think the Rams get the Niners. I think the Rams win the division.
All in all, I haven't been bad. My Minnesota pick was clearly the worst one, but I think you and I both. We've been respectable. All right, AFC South, what did we think? Let's do it. I got to go Jacksonville, right? Give me the Jaguars to win the division.
Oh, no.
Houston second, Indianapolis third, and the Tennessee Titans fourth.
The Indianapolis Colts were 20 yards away from winning the division. I think Anthony Richardson stays relatively healthy, and I think they get the division.
Talk about drinking the teal Kool-Aid. I will not make that mistake in 2025. And then what do we have? We have our playoff picks finally. Let's
No, I didn't get.
All right, because I know the Super Bowl, you and I both had the same team, right? We had Detroit and Kansas City.
Yep.
Which that wasn't breaking any news there. But look, I mean, Kansas City, I don't think they necessarily played terribly last night. I think they were just overwhelmed. I think Philadelphia played out of their minds. Kansas City at least showed a little bit of fight in the fourth quarter. That was after Philadelphia took their foot off the gas. Philadelphia just came out and put them up against the ropes with some body blows, and then just nailed them with a roundhouse right. And the Chiefs never got off the canvas. I mean, it was a darn near knockout in the first round. That first quarter at 17-0, the Chiefs never recovered. So Philadelphia are your world champions, but it goes to show you how quickly things can change in 5 months. And I always love doing that to reflect back on what we thought in early September. We usually do that the Wednesday night before the Thursday season opener, and then how everything played out. And like Minnesota is a prime example. I thought Minnesota was going to be bad with Sam Darnold. Minnesota went 14-3. I thought Pittsburgh was going to be bad. I might never doubt Mike Tomlin again. He got that team into the playoffs. So I always love the look back down memory lane. We'll certainly do it again come September. What will transpire in the offseason leading up to that Thursday night opener, we'll see. But if I was a betting man, I would think the Thursday night opener will be Detroit and Philadelphia. Detroit goes to Philly. That makes all the sense in the world to have the Lions and the Eagles on the opening game on Thursday night to kick off the 2025 NFL regular season. It was a gigantic win on Saturday for the Florida Gator basketball team. Let's head to Gainesville. Let's talk about Todd Golden. Let's talk about this Gator basketball team, now ranked 3rd in America after beating number 1 Auburn. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. He's one of our guys in Gainesville, and he joins us next on a Monday night in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark in for Baloo right here until 8 o'clock on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
We are no longer friends. Why? What do you mean, why?
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
You're wrecking my life.
Mornings on 1010XL.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind?
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound and Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 US Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Attention homeowners, Chelsea here. For a limited time, Renewal by Andersen is making it easy to upgrade your home during our free window month. When you buy 4 windows or patio doors, you'll get 1 free. Our exclusive Fibrex material delivers the perfect combination of energy efficiency, durability, and style. Perfect for your home makeover this season. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Restrictions apply. See website for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
Pacifico is brewed for those who let go of the things that don't matter and hold on to the ones that do. That's living life anchors up.
Pacifico, found in Baja, imported by surfers. Ask for a Pacifico when you're ready to live life anchors up.
Pacifico is a crisp golden lager, brewed for those who know. It's what's behind a label that matters.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Love is in the air this February, but nothing kills the mood like a plumbing or HVAC problem. Whether it's a leaky pipe, a backed up septic tank, or your heater isn't keeping things cozy, don't worry. We've got you covered. Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Our expert team is here to keep your home running smooth, no matter the issue. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, City Rescue Mission is here to help. Learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caale.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, what a sports weekend. The Super Bowl yesterday. Obviously, a big congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you go back to Saturday, what a sports day it was for me. My beloved Orlando Magic came from way back to beat San Antonio. But prior to that, the Florida Gators go into number 1 ranked Auburn, an Auburn team that was, 20-1 on the year, and came out of there with a win. It's the first ranked number 1 team that Florida's ever beaten on the road. Todd Golden and his team are absolutely playing out of their minds right now. Let's go to Gainesville. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Graham, how we doing, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Ryan. It's absolutely was a fantastic weekend, especially for Florida. Picking up wins over Vanderbilt and Auburn. Both came shorthanded. Florida was without Walter Clayton Jr., was without Elijah Martin on Saturday at Auburn. Not many people thought that they had a chance to go in there and hand the Tigers their first loss in conference play, but Florida did that and did it pretty emphatic fashion there, for playing great for all 40 minutes there in a hostile environment.
Graham, I want to talk about the game, certainly, but big picture. You cover the basketball team as closely as anybody over there in Gainesville, and that's why we love having you on. Look, I think when Will Richard and Walter Clayton announced that they were coming back, they tested the NBA waters, but ultimately came back. I think at that point, Gator fans probably knew this team, or at least expected this team to be pretty good. But 20-3, ranked number 4 in America, have beaten 2 number 1 teams already this year in Tennessee and Auburn. I mean, they're playing above every Gator fan's expectations right now, are they not?
No, they are, certainly, because there were questions about both of those guys you mentioned coming back. I mean, they both had things in their game that they had to work on. And for Walter Clayton, he was stepping into that quote-unquote starting point guard role where he was taking over for Zion Pullen, who was a fantastic facilitator a year ago. And Walter, more of a pure scorer, a guy who can make you pay from long range if you don't step out and defend him up to, 30 feet there. And for Will Richard, I think he was considered more of a catch-and-shoot guy. He had things of his game he had to work on defensively, driving to the rim aggressively, having the ball in his hands, and finishing near the rim were things that I think he knew that he needed to work on. And then the NBA feedback provided some confirmation of that. And they both have embraced the changes that they needed to make in their game. Walter has been fantastic. He's coming off a career-high 9 assists against Auburn. So anyone, I think, still doubting whether he has the ability to facilitate, find open teammates, I think that kind of answers your question right there, even though Todd Golden has been pretty adamant that this guy is a special player. Consider him a combo guard, but when he needs to step into that role, and I think he did a really good job with Denzel Aberdeen in the backcourt, maybe taking some of the facilitating pressure off of him, even though Walter certainly got his. And then for Will Richard, his defensive play has been just, I don't want to say miles better than it was a year ago, but you've seen him noticeably improve. Maybe he was a little even underappreciated as a defender last year with his length, his ability to keep guys in front of him from 1 to 4 really at times. He has, I think, really good size there for playing that 3 spot, a guy at 6'5" who also can affect the battle of the boards there and get out in transition. But he needed to make some strides with his game as well. Both those guys have done that. And then obviously adding Elijah Martin into the mix, getting Denzel Aberdeen back for his 3rd season, which I thought was a little bit of an underappreciated move at the time, a guy who would have had multiple opportunities to go elsewhere, even in the SEC, and lock down a starting role. He comes back, and you saw how critical he was to Florida's success this past week. So certainly a team that benefited from getting both of those guys back, the transfer portal additions, guys being a year healthier, a year more experienced, Alex Condon, Thomas Howe, those guys have just been critical to Florida's success. I mean, they had 33 points and 19 rebounds, Condon and Howe did, on Saturday. Just looks like a team that on any given night is going to be difficult to beat. It's certainly, as you saw against Tennessee a week ago, they're going to have an off shooting night once in a while here. They're going to have guys like Richard held in check, but more often than not, as we've seen this season, this is a team that is very, very hard to beat, regardless of venue and opponent.
Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247 with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Look, Todd Golden has done great work in the portal, obviously, with Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin. You go back last year to Tyrese Samuel, Zion Pullen. But what I love, Graham, about Golden and his staff is as good as they are in the portal, they're as good, if not better, in developing their own guys. You mentioned Thomas Houck. He made incredible plays against Auburn. Condon, all of a sudden, is one of the best big men in the SEC. You talk about Will Richard and Denzel Aberdeen. So as good as the portal has been for Florida, that staff develops their own guys as well.
Absolutely. I think that, both the guys you mentioned, Florida has talked about having this underdog, chip on our shoulder mentality, where you really look at everyone on their lineup. They have a case to, make that no one really saw them being in a position like this. Todd Golden, a former walk-on at St. Mary's, a guy who until a few years ago really was an assistant coach and had a great run at San Francisco, but now he comes from the SEC and he's answered any questions about him making this move to this league with all the coaching talent out there. Elijah Martin was a guy who was at Florida Atlantic and was under-recruited. Not many people expected him to be in this position, even though he was, in the Final Four, 2 seasons ago. But the two guys you just mentioned, really under-the-radar guys, Thomas Houck and Alex Condon were guys who were not really highly recruited. They didn't have a ton of offers. Alex Condon saw a couple offers at the end of his recruitment there, but he didn't have the major Power 4 offers that you're used to seeing from a guy that's as dominant as he is. Certainly didn't get the interest that Janai Broome did when Broome entered the portal there. So you've seen them continue to improve, and it's all been in Gainesville here. Alex Condon has been turning heads behind closed doors really for the past 18 months since he stepped foot on campus, and you've seen his game continue to evolve. He's a better passer than people think. He's a better ball handler than people think for his size. Just really, finds open teammates at a high rate, and you're starting to see him space the floor at a higher level too, where he's able to step out and hit that, 23-foot shot at a much higher level than he was able to do. I mentioned 18 months ago. That wasn't really in his arsenal until recently. And then Thomas Houck, they always say that effort is going to translate, and that's something he's been able to do his entire basketball career. That's what led Florida to identify him when he was up there in Pennsylvania as a potential big addition for this team here. He benefited from not reclassifying and, enrolled at Florida as a 19-year-old freshman and has really seen his game improve too. He's not scared to go up and battle with guys who are bigger than him. He makes hustle plays. He makes the heads-up play a lot of the time. His three-point shot has improved. He's a reliable free throw shooter. His offensive game has expanded, and you've seen him also be able to affect shots on the defensive end. And I think he had 2 or 3 blocks, I think, on Saturday against this vaunted Auburn front court. So doing it where you develop your recruiting additions is something that I think is a little bit, less common in today's era of basketball, where so much of these teams, when it comes to reloading year after year, rely on the transfer portal, and rightfully so. I think that it's still very critical to maintaining year over year impressive team, but you also need to retain and develop the guys that you do add as freshmen, and Florida has done just that. Denzel Aberdeen, a guy who comes in as well now in his 3rd year. He's been with Todd Golden the entire time, has really improved also. They added some guys in the past couple of years who I think are going to be really good. Isaiah Brown, give him some time, and I think he's going to be really, really good here before too long. And that has been a big part of Florida's roster balance, is relying on the guys that they brought in, as well as the transfer additions to get them to where they are today.
A couple of more for Graham Hall of 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, covering the Florida Gators. I thought Thomas Houck's play where he tipped the ball back to Aberdeen for just a back-breaking 3 against Auburn, I thought that was one of the best plays of the year. I mean, it was just a phenomenal play. And that speaks to my next question, Graham. I mean, my biggest complaint about Mike White, or one of my biggest complaints about Mike White, was I thought a lot of his teams were kind of finesse, right? They weren't exactly tough. Now, there were a couple of outliers. The Chiosa team was very tough, in my opinion. But by and large, Mike White's teams, I think when they had to play bully ball against teams, they got bullied a large majority of the time. On Saturday, Florida went into a hornet's nest, man. That was a unbelievable atmosphere. Auburn fans had camped out for days leading up to it. That Auburn team has like 12 quad 1 wins. They were the number 1 team in the land, and they were playing physical basketball in the first couple of minutes. And for Florida to respond like that and play bully ball and out-bully a bully, if you will, man, I thought that was really, really impressive.
Yeah, it's one of the intangibles of recruiting is going after guys who are not going to be afraid of the moment, who are going to be able to compete even when they look at the ranking of the other team, go into a hostile environment where they're saying all kinds of crazy stuff at you. You need someone who's not going to back down, kind of the opposite. You need someone who's going to elevate their game. And I think that Alex Condon and Tommy and even Walt, especially here, Will, those guys get going when they hear the other team in their ear, and that fires them up a good bit. Like I said about the underdog chip on the shoulder mentality, they've had that for their whole careers. And being counted out, it's probably going to backfire on you if you go up there and think that you're going to be able to affect them mentally and get in their heads. That certainly is something that is a great intangible quality of this team, and you certainly need it when you get into March and postseason play, because you're not going to have the home crowd on your side when you get into the conference tournament, when you get into March Madness. You're going to need someone who is going to be a little bit fired up by being counted out, and that's something that this Florida team has done at a high level here. And, you brought up Mike White. I think that there's a lot of good about his recruiting. I mean, the guys that he brought to Gainesville and the guys that he was in for, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Andrew Nemhard, Trey Mann, guys who were playing, in the NBA at a high level. He had a good eye for talent there, but you need someone in the front court that is going to be able to be a bully in a sense, like you said. And there were just a lot of, I don't want to say misses for Florida's front court during the Mike White era, but they had a lot of things go wrong in that sense. They had guys who either got hurt at a high rate or they weren't able to affect the game the way that Florida's big men are right now for Todd Golden's team in his third year in Gainesville. So this is a tough league. You need to be physical. You need to be, a guy who's willing to do whatever it takes to impact winning, whether it's being the go-to guy, stuff in the score sheet, or willing to play, 5 to 10 minutes on a given night and come in when a guy picks up 2 early fouls here and just play your game. And I think that Florida has done that by adding the pieces to the roster that they have. It's been a really, really solid job through Todd Golden's, 2 and 3/4 of a season here in Gainesville. And I think one of the reasons why is not just his in-game coaching style, which is continuing to improve. The guy's only 39 years old, but he's gone out and got guys who aren't afraid of the big moments, complement each other well, and step up when the lights are brightest, like you saw on Saturday.
Well, the interesting thing, too, Walter Clayton misses the Vanderbilt game. Elijah Martin misses the Auburn game, and Florida was only going 8 deep a majority of the year. Now, all of a sudden, Klobuchar comes in off the bench, has made, I think, 5 threes combined in the last 2 games. So all of a sudden now maybe a 9-man rotation. You almost got to find a way to get him on the court even when everybody's healthy. All right, Graham, you mentioned how tough the league is as we wrap up. We got about 2 minutes to go. Florida's heard how great they are for the last 48 hours, but this is life in the SEC. Less than 24 hours from now, they're going to play another road game against another ranked conference opponent. How tough will it be for this team to kind of get back down to planet Earth after the win over Auburn and go into Starkville and play a good Mississippi State team?
Yeah, I don't know if the rankings are going to be what affects this team. I mean, they've said time and time again that they're not going to be satisfied with anything they do during the regular season here. They're not going to look back if they get bounced in the first weekend or second weekend even of the NCAA tournament and say, oh, well, we won 25 regular season games. It was a successful season. That's not what's going to define this team. It's what they do in March. So I'm pretty confident that even if they're, a top 5 team in the AP poll for the next couple of weeks, that it's not going to let them take their foot off the gas. They're not going to get complacent here. But I really just think what you said, going on the road in the SEC, as we've seen from Florida the past 2 weeks, you can lose by 20 like Florida did at Tennessee, or you can pick up a win over the number 1 ranked team. It just really, I think, goes to show that there's so much parity in this league here. And Mississippi State, certainly a capable team, in the rankings, deservedly have really good, guys throughout their lineup. Josh Hubbard is really, really good. One of the SEC's leading scorers, averaging more than 17 points per game. Florida fans are really familiar, of course, with Riley Kugel. RJ Melendez was at Georgia last year. This is a team that's certainly talented, and that Florida has to give it their best shot on Tuesday night to be able to go in and win that game in Starkville here. So certainly this is a team that, they're probably going to take a few more losses here in conference play. You can't anticipate them running the gauntlet here the rest of the way before we get into the conference tournament in the second week of March. But this is a team that I'm pretty confident in is not going to lower their level of play or change their mindset here now that they've got some more outside validation, have beat the number 1 ranked team. And anyone who wasn't already paying attention to this team right now is obviously starting to look at them and say, oh, they're a contender. That's not going to affect them whatsoever here. But the strength of the SEC is going to continue to affect them. It's a good thing, though, because when you get into March, all these teams who make it, which is going to be double-digit teams, have been battle-tested, and that's only going to help them when they go into, trying to make a run into April there.
Florida and Mississippi State tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Graham, I know you're busy. Thank you as always for the time, pal. We'll talk again soon.
Pleasure's always mine. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to being back to you real soon.
Now,
Thanks, Ryan.
the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to my buddy Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247 down in Gainesville, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark, as the Florida Gators coming off just a huge win in men's basketball on Saturday. For the first time in program history, they go on the road and they beat the number 1 team in the country, the Auburn Tigers. That Auburn team was ridiculously good. Florida was without Elijah Martin as well. And for the Gators to go in there in that environment and win a basketball game, maybe in the conversation, certainly, as one of the best wins any program in college basketball has had this year. And I don't think I'm understating that. That was a huge road win against the number 1 team in the land. And we certainly appreciate Graham Hall of 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, for joining us tonight. We certainly spent some time on that. But by and large, it was a lot of Super Bowl reaction, and it was a lot of Jaguar talk, as you would possibly imagine this time of year. The offseason is officially here, and the Jaguars have a lot of decisions to make, and currently do not have a general manager. We know that process of interviewing candidates, I believe, began earlier today. I would be shocked if the Jaguars did not have a GM in place probably in the next 8 to 10 days, maybe more so in the next week, would be my assumption. Again, the NFL scouting combine is just about 2 weeks away, so the Jaguars need to figure out what they're doing here pretty quickly. Well, that will just about do it. It has been a very busy Monday evening here on Hacker After Dark. And for Baloo, we certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, my buddy Graham Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, down in Gainesville, for joining us tonight. Thank you to Mike Giannetti, the founder of Spotrac. Obviously, it's Mike's time of year. Spotrac is one of the best websites out there when it comes to salary cap, contract information, and we did a deep dive into the Jaguars offseason and what that may look like with the salary cap, player contracts, extensions, free agency. If you missed that conversation, it'll be up on 1010XL.com. I certainly think you will enjoy some of the things Mike had to say. And back in hour number 1, my buddy Mike DiRocco. We lovingly call him D-Rock, ESPN.com. Always enjoyed D-Rock taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars coaching situation and their current GM search. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Monday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Tuesday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Your work is unparalleled, and I'm a huge fan of the way you lose control and turn